Good afternoon, everybody. Hello. Welcome. Enjoy some Witcher music. Just ever so slight in the background. Good afternoon, everybody. 9.6 plus 12 new cards. Oh boy, there's a lot to talk about today. There's a lot to talk about today. Woohoo! Welcome, everyone. All right, so 12 new cards. New patch. New game director. Oh. Yes, guys, don't know. Jason is no longer a game director. Feels bad, man. But, you know, Vlad seems like he's a great guy to take Jason's spot. So I'm excited to see what he does with Gwent. I think it'd be interesting. I need to shave. I do. I'm getting lazy. It's the winter months soon, so I'm getting lazy. Anyways, 9.6. 12 new cards. Oh boy. What are these 12 cards gonna be? Well, get right into it. Let's not waste any time, guys. Get right into it. Start with the first card revealed, and I couldn't find a good picture for like 90% of these pictures. So we're gonna have to zoom in on all this bullshit. But first card that was revealed is Ardell. We'll go in order, so we'll do 2 Nilfgaard cards. Actually, we should start with whoever goes first. Let's go over the basic changes. You know, they're blah, blah, blah. You know, drain keyword now ignores armor. I'm trying to think if there's really that many drain cards. No. You want to know how many drain cards there is? There's 1 currently. So, yeah. But maybe they'll, you know, maybe they'll have more drain cards in the future. I know that one of the new cards has drain, but, yeah. Alright. None of these are really important. Neutral card. Okay, I guess we're starting with monsters. I think monsters is here. Okay, we'll start with monsters then. Neutrals, Olgir Immortal. Now you cannot be changed by other cards or abilities. Yeah, no one's gonna still play Immortal. It's kind of a meme card. Vesemir Mentor now boost himself. Interesting. Interesting. So that is another +1 boost on the board, which could be good in a certain leader ability we'll look into a little bit later. Maybe the rebirth of an old deck from a long time ago. We'll see. All right, monsters. What do they get? What's happening with good old monster? Let's start with the first card. You know, we gotta zoom in. Arachnus Queen, 6 for 10. Deploy, consume an allied unit. If it's an insectoid, spawn and play an Arachnus nest. Death Wish, spawn a base copy of the consumed unit in this row. So, I mean, it's just a really good card. Like, value-wise, it's a 6 for 10. It can consume any unit, and it just spawns a base copy of it. It doesn't have to be a Death Wish. Obviously, you're going to want to play this like with a Death Wish just to get that much more value with it. But when it comes to insectoids, I guess you could do some meme things, you know, with Ruhin. I guess he's called, right? It's Ruhin, yeah. You could do some weird Ruhin memes. Probably not. Ruhin's probably still going to be not that good. Is there really any other insectoids that you're gonna want to be sniping, nomming down? Not really, right? Music's getting pretty intense, guys. It's pretty intense for this insectoid, but not really. I mean, I guess you could do Kikimor Queen, right? And then you can like respawn Kikimor Queen, and then it would like reboost all your shit. So like, let's say you have Kikimor Queen at like 10 points or whatever. You can't boost it anymore, but now you can eat it, and then activate the Death Wish on your Arachnus Queen, and then you have another Kikimor Queen that can boost all your units on that row. So, also, is the music too loud? We'll nerf the music a little bit. Yeah. It's the theme song of Assassin of Kings, Witcher 2. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a good card. You know, spawn a base copy of a consumed unit. There's a decent amount of monster cards that you want to consume that are not bad. You could also just do this on like just Death Wish units, like Succubus. You could have like another Succubus. You could have another Detlaf. You can there's unlimited options really for Arachnus Queen, so I don't think it's that bad. Even if you don't get the Arachnus Nest part off on it, it's still, the Death Wish is just so good. And it's even better once we check out another card in a second. But we'll go over the last monster card. This is like really low quality, but it's the only one I could find. So shit. 144p Regis Reborn. He's not reborn enough to be higher res. He's a 1 for 13. Wow, what a trash card, right? No. Drain an enemy unit by 3. That goes through armor now. Just remember that. At the end of your turn, while in hand or deck, if there is an enemy with bleeding, increase own base power by 1. Monster has Gourd now, boys. Is it going to be good? Well, Vampires has been traditionally bad until like a long time ago, like a galaxy far, far away. There used to be a vampire deck with Caranthier. You used to run Caranthier. And you used to run, what was it called? It was a 10 provision dude. He had armor. Yes, Living Armor. That was like the old G strategy you used to play with vampires. And it was actually pretty good. You'd spawn a, like, it was like a 14-point play. And back then, that was really good. Nowadays, yeah. But, you know, like Vampires has always kind of lacked that final big play they can always have, where like they used to play like Living Armor, Caranthier for 15, 14 points. It was pretty damn good. And then you slam down another one for 10, so it was like a 24-point play. It was pretty good. But Monsters is like, Vampires has lacked that, you know, just the like the little bit of what they just need something big at the end of the to play. Now this is quite big. This is probably going to get to levels of Gourd, and it's even better than Gourd, slightly, kind of, if you want to look at it that way. You can't be resetted. That's pretty big. So now pretty much only like Heatwave and tall removal cards can really remove it. Now you can't like Spores this card, for example, or Uridan or what have you. You have to straight up kill it in order to deny its points. But even if you do kill it, let's say in round 2, in round 3 you could play Uzralty, eat the Regis Reborn, and yeah, I mean, it's expensive. It's 13 provisions. That's pretty expensive. I mean, let's look at the vampire cards. Can monsters really afford a 13 provision card? I actually don't know. Maybe, right? Well, they do have Unseen Elder, which you kind of want to run in a vampires deck. Let's be real. They actually, we'll talk about Gales in a second, but you know, Oriana is another one, but that's 9 points. Detlaf, some people run in your vampires deck. That's another 10 provisions though, and then you have, you know, New Regis, 13 provisions. Pretty expensive. It's very expensive, but I think if you really want to make a vampires deck work, you kind of have to play him. And he just does 3 damage on top of whatever amount of points he is. He's pretty damn good. Like, this is just an overall solid card. And we all know how much bleeding vampires does. And that is the core issue with vampires. At the end of the day, they apply so much bleeding, they lose value. If your opponent has Veil cards, you lose value. So, is this really going to make vampires competitive? Maybe not competitive, but it might put them in like slightly little bit of a better spot than they were in a couple years now at this point. But let's look at the monster changes overall. We got Abaya. Can now trigger the Death Wish unit ability of Gold, so now you could use her to activate your consumed. But this is not only just good for her, it's also good for all the other Death Wish golds that you got. I mean, you can use it on Maruna. You got the Imperial Manicore you could use it on. And for 6 provisions, oh, this card is going to see play. Oh, abso-friggin-lutely, this card's going to see play. And it's Thrive. It just gets It's such a good value card now. If that I can play. I mean, some people played it even just because it activated bronzes, but now because it activates gold, this card will like 100% see play without a doubt in my mind. Pretty good. All right, what else we got? Brewers can now gain charges while in play. Makes sense. That's kind of just like a nice little bonus, because before, if you had Brewis on the field already and you played another crone, nothing would happen for her, so she wouldn't gain an extra charge, which sucks. Gale goes from 7 to 6, so this is also a pretty damn nice buff. Gale, of course, does he does 1 damage to an enemy unit, and then if it's bleeding, does 3, and then it boosts by self when it kills. But now it's 6 provisions. In a Vampire's deck, absolutely, you're probably just gonna play. Absolutely, you're gonna play this card. You played it before, but now it's just even better. So, cool. Good shit. Good shit. I'm glad Vampires is seeing some love. It was my favorite monster deck next to Consume from beta, so it's cool to see that Vampires is seeing some love. Catachan got his ability changed because before it was just Thrive. Yeah, Thrive, summon Ekimara, Death Wish, summon another Ekimara. It didn't really synergize at all with Vampires. It didn't synergize with anything, so it was just never played. It was just kind of more annoying than anything, but it wasn't crazy. And it's with Thrive units being like 5 points, you're not going to get much Thrive value usually. So now it's going to be, you can spawn an Ekimara, but now it has a cooldown of 4, so every time a bleeding is applied, it goes down by 1. So this is just a constant Catachan engine of 3-point little bastards. So pretty good. Weavis Incantation now can consume an ally, which is quite damn good in the Death Wish. What was her name? I forgot. Weavis, right, yes. She's still pretty expensive. She is, 10 provisions, but now, she activates your Death Wish multiple times. And now she consumes a Death Wish as well. So, like, she can consume a unit. Doesn't have to be Death Wish. She can consume a unit. So that way she sticks on the board. The only way to really deal with her now is, like, movement or using something that you might necessarily not want to use, like a Heat Wave. Or you can use a lock or something like that. So it's just a little bit more annoying, but that makes Death Wish just that much better. I think Death Wish, people are going to play Vampires. I think Vampires is what I'm going to play first tomorrow. But Death Wish also seems to be pretty interesting coming into this patch. Yaga. Quite a meme card. Yaga has seen, like, absolutely zero play just because, the problem with Yaga is it's so expensive. It was 13 provisions just to eat a 4 provision unit. You had to wait 2 turns and then to eat a 5 provision. And you have to hope your opponent has a 5 provision unit. If they don't have a 4 or 5, Yaga is useless. It's just not a really good card. It goes down to 12. I don't think people are still going to play it, though. Alp going from 3 to 4. I mean, this is kind of just nice because it's the one that gives bleeding to 3 turns of bleeding, and then Order gives another 3 turns of bleeding to a different unit or whatever. Going to 4 will make it just stick a little bit longer. It's nice. I mean, that's 2 extra points in your Vampires deck, so that's already good. Flutter goes from power 5 to 4. Provision goes to 5 to 6, but now, because before, okay, Flutter was was kind of a kick in the nuts as a vampire connoisseur, because whenever you receive bleeding, gain vitality with the same duration, you can only realistically use vitality up until 10 turns, essentially 9 turns, really, because you have to, let's for argument's sake, 10 turns of vitality, usually 9, but like if you go any higher than that, it's just useless stats. Like, sure, 9 vitality sounds great. It plays for 14 for 5, whatever. But that's assuming that you get all the vitality. You play this card, it doesn't get answered. It's just wasn't good. Just wasn't good enough. It was kind of a kick in the face. So to see now it going from 5 to 6, but now when bleeding is applied to an enemy, it boosts self by the amount applied. and it has a counter 1, so that way you can't just apply 3 leader charges of 3 bleeding for an instant 9 points onto this card, and which would be pretty damn good. Including all the other cards that would synergize with the new Regis card synergizing with that. So it does have a cap in a sense. You know, at most, I think you can apply, what, bleeding of 3, 4? I'm checking here. I think that, yeah, at most, you can usually give a bleeding of 4. Unless you play Armor Arachnus, which can apply its base power. So yeah, usually 4 is the max you can play, but that's on Unseen Elder. So yeah, I mean, that's good. That's good. I think that's a way better of a thing going for vampires, and it definitely helps. Incubus goes from 5 to 6, and Malorn goes from 5 to 4. So that's the one that activates a bronze Death Wish. So, easy peasy. The one interesting thing they didn't buff is this is still 5 provisions. Why? Why is this still 5 provisions? If you look at it, like all the other factions, every faction has basically one of these cards where you can play. I'm trying to find you guys an example. I can't remember off the top of my head what it's called, but usually each faction has their own version of this card. Not each, but some of them have a version of this card. Like, I think Dinram Pirate. I think he's getting changed, but... Okay, no, he's 5 provisions too. I thought there was one that's 4. I think they need to make it 4 provisions, because it is 3 health, and it just gets killed by literally everything. But, you know, I guess in this meta, maybe 4 points won't really matter either, because it'll just die instantly too. But, I don't know. I would like to see it get like 1 armor at least, maybe, or 1 more power, something. But pretty good changes overall, though. A lot of changes for monsters. Overall, monsters looks pretty good, I gotta say. I'm excited for both the cards. Both the cards look pretty good in their own respective ways. I think Arachnus Queen is for sure going to see play. And I think Regis is also going to see play in a Vampires deck. How good is it going to be? Well... statistically, vampire decks have been absolutely trash for a long time. But who knows? Maybe Regis can reborn vampires. Alright, let's move on to Skellige. If I can find those little bastards. Where are they? This is well prepared, if you guys can tell. My lips are dry. Give me 1 sec. This is a coffee break. Alright, first card that was announced was King Brand. Oh, this one's a goodie. King Brand, 5 for 11. He's a human and a warrior. Veteran. Deploy boost self by 0. Increase the value by 1 whenever excess damage is dealt to enemy units. At the start of the game, trigger the veteran ability of your units. So that basically means that at the start of the game, all your veteran units gets +1. That means King Brand is already going to be a 6. He's going to be a 7 in round 2. He's going to be an 8 in round 3. That's actually pretty damn good. Yeah, let's go over them all, I guess. Shouldn't take too long. There's not that many veteran cards, but there's enough. So that means Iced is going to be already at a 4. It'll be a 5 and then a 6 in round 3. That means Trigvi is going to be 6, 7, and 8. Important, Scoia'tael. Fucking Christ. Why are these names so hard, man? Scoia'tael. That sounds right. So this is actually a really big buff to him. Now, when he starts off, he'll be a 4. Round 2 be a 5. And then round 6, he's going to be a 6. 6-point removal is pretty damn good. So that's good. This doesn't count. And this is 5, 6, 7. So it's going to already be 5 on turn 1. So it's already going to be a lot harder to kill as opposed to what it used to be. So that's already a big buff to this card as well. So yeah, 5, 6, and then 7, and then 6, 7, and 8, respectively. pretty good. I mean, that's just an extra 1 point, and you run all these cards except this. I don't. It's because he's a veteran, but he's not a veteran enough. I think okay. I'm pretty sure back in beta he used to be like, he used to boost all your veterans by 1 or something like that. I forget. But anyways, yeah, you run all these cards. So warriors. Woo. Speaking of old archetypes coming back, looks like warriors is coming back on the menu, and honestly, warriors is still being played today in very, very, very small amounts. I occasionally see the occasional warrior. I like warriors. I do. It's a cool archetype. I'm glad that they brought back my boy King Bran. Back in beta, King Bran was like my favorite leader ability because he used to discard, and it was just cool. I loved him, and it's cool to see him back in the game. And I think he's pretty damn good. Like I said, also, he just boosts himself at the end of, you just slap him down, he boosts self, increase the value by 1 by every excess damage. Excess damage as Skellige is pretty easy. You know, even if he boosts himself by like 4 or 5 points, he's already better than his provisions. So he's always going to find value, right? Like he's always just going to be, because you have to consider he goes 6, 7, 8 in round 3, so he's an 8 for 11. But you gotta remember, he's also technically boosting all your veterans by 1 as well. So that's another upwards of, what's that gonna be? That's 2, 4, 7. So that's another 7. So right off the bat, he's playing for 8, 13 for 11. Just round turn 1, and then he plays for an additional 14, 15. Round 3 plays for 15 for 11, and then he boosts himself every time you XX damage at the top of that, so he could easily play for 20 for 11. That's pretty good, dude. That's pretty good. This is gonna 100% be played in warriors. No doubt in my mind that you're gonna be seeing my boy King Brand. I'm 100% playing a Warriors deck. And maybe with Fusia. She did get nerfed. We'll talk about that in a second. You're probably not going to be able to include her. But if you could include her, she should also be pretty damn good in this deck. There's a lot of good cards you want to res. Okay, let's go on to the other Skellige card. So, King Brand for me is 5 thumbs up. If I had 5 thumbs, I would all of them up. Alright. Cirrus Fearless, a card art that I love a lot, and I'm glad they brought it back. It's one of my favorite card art in Gwent history, I would say. It's like it's just incredible. So she's 4 for 10. She's another warrior. Yeah, probably not gonna be playing her in a warrior deck though. After you've dealt damage to allied units 9 times, summon self from your deck to your range row, heal, and Zeal order fully heal an allied unit, and damage an additional allied unit by the amount healed, cooldown 1. So this is for Self Wound. That's a deck that hasn't been played. Also, speaking of vampires, Self Wound hasn't been played in a very long, very, very long time. At least at a competitive level. I don't think Cirrus is gonna make or break Self Wound. I'm torn. I think this card's kind of it might convince me. I don't know. If you look at all the self damage, how would I even search self damage? Self wound. It's really hard to say. Like I'm trying to think of a combo. My you know, Pepega brain is going right to Queensguard, which, you know, you could, in theory, right? Like Queensguard with her and permanently keep healing the Queensguard and then playing Queensguard over and over again. It's not good, but that is technically something you could do. I wonder if they're fixing Freya's Blessing. But fixed. I fixed it, guys. No, I broke it. Oh. Yeah. Hey, CPR, please fix. Anyways, yeah, self wound. I don't know. This card, it's cool, but I think I want to see this card work. I do. I want someone to absolutely destroy my anus with this card. But right now, I just don't see it, you know? I just don't see it right now. I think out of all the cards that I'm talking about, I just don't know about this card the most. I know Self Wound is just kind of a meme, and you have to damage allied units 9 times for it to come out, and then you can heal, but then that's it. And you have to damage an allied unit by the amount healed, which there is some units that could benefit from this. You could, I guess, like, play the veteran. That goes down to, if he goes down to, like, I think 3 HP or whatever, he boosts himself back to 8. You could just keep healing your units and spam it onto him, but it's hard to say. I think this card is very niche. But who knows? Maybe in the future, you'll see some love. Maybe Self Wound. I think Self Wound just needs a little bit of bumping up like Vampires does. And then maybe we'll see her. But maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I'll be wrong. But look on the buffs. Onslaught now damages an enemy unit by 3. There's 2 charges. Whenever an enemy unit becomes damaged, give 1 armor to all pirates and ships in your hand. So this is a buff to pirates. So now you get a bunch of armor. Will this make pirates actually useful? Is Bran a pirate? He's not a pirate. No, he's a warrior. Of course he's a warrior. He's a Chad. He's not a pirate. Well, giving armor to units is always good. It's always annoying for your opponent to play armored units because you're just like, oh my god, dude, I can't get through this armor. It's so annoying. And I guess this is a buff to this Terror of the Seas as well. Damn, look at this rift. Okay, we need some chill music. Chill music. Let's just do Dusk of the Northern Kingdom. So, will pirates be useful? You get 1 armor against control matchups and stuff like that. It's nice because you have armor. Armor is just like, if you're playing traps, for example, and you see someone that's playing armor, you're just kind of sad, right? But will this bring pirates into the limelight? Probably not. I mean, it's cool. I like pirates. I like the idea of pirates. I like the idea of playing ships, and maybe this leader ability will get it slightly ahead. Dude, these bots still exist? What the hell? Why is it every time I do... Why is it every time I do a card review and patch review, there's always like a bot that's like, hey, do you want to become famous, dude? Buy my shit. It's like, oh my god, dude. Anyways, yeah, so you give 1 armor to all your ships and stuff. Very good. Artis, he goes from 12 to 11, which is a boost to the good old Self Wound. So hey, maybe I'm wrong. I want to be wrong, okay? I do want to be wrong about Cirrus. I want Cirrus to be a good card, okay? I do. Coral, going from 8 to 9. That's actually a huge nerf. So this is kind of a two-way nerf. It's a nerf in the sense that Coral is now 9. And it's a nerf because Fusia oh, right, infantry. I was very confused for a second. It's also a nerf because Fusia plays a unit that's 10 or less, and Coral now is a 9, so that means you play 1 turn only of rain as opposed to 2. That's 4 damage right there. But I'm glad Coral is in the meta. I've always liked Coral. I always loved their art. I think it's one of the best arts in the game as well. But I don't think this is not gonna be a huge, like, it's a big nerf. It's an annoying nerf. But this card is so good and so consistent, sorta, that it's still worth it to run Coral, Burna, Mokvarg, 2 skirmishers, and a whatever the fuck his name is. So yeah, it's a good nerf. It's a good nerf. It's not over the top, so that's good. Fusia, speaking of which, is now 14 provisions. She is an expensive girl. She is the highest Skellige unit now. Skellige card in the game. She's actually ties with Vi now for being the highest unit in the game. Yep. Which this is kind of a nerf to those meme. I guess this is kind of a way a nerf to those meme decks where people play like, I forget what they do, but they do things to try to get like Vi. Through like chapter of 1,000 fables, just some weird. It's some weird shit. Yeah. Yeah, Fusia going to, anyways, 14 provisions. That's 2 nerfs already to my control deck and stuff like that. She is a very expensive girl. You're still gonna run her. You're still gonna run Coral and all of them. But now you got a little bit punished on running other cards. So this is gonna be pretty bad for some decks. For example, my control deck, yeah, that's really annoying because this control deck already has so many 4 provision cards and I want to cry. And now it's like, hey, this actually might just mean I just don't run Sunset Wanderer anymore. I think that Fusia going to 14, Coral going to 9 is going to make it so I just don't run Sunset Wanderer anymore. But we'll see. What else? Dimon Corsair. Once again, he's getting changed. I think this guy has gotten changed like 3-4 times at this point. This poor guy just keeps getting changed. He goes from 3 to 4. Provision costs 5 to 4. He now removes 2 armored from an allied unit and boosts self by the same amount. So it's sort of like how the Vampire is getting the card where you get bleed, he gets boost. This is remove 2 armor, you get boost. And also combos with Onslaught. There's a lot of really old archetypes or really cool archetypes that I want to try out this season. This is getting me excited, dude. This is awesome. I just want to try out these. They're going to be bad, but it's still going to be fun to play. Just because it's fun just to fuck around in Gwent. Dimon Warship is now summon the highest power bronze art from your graveyard upon Death Wish. This card is just, I don't know. I don't like Death Wish in Skellige. Because I gotta say, it kills its, okay. I couldn't remember what it did, honestly. I just couldn't remember what it did. Summon random bronze. Okay, so before it's been running, now you can play the highest, which means that looking at the highest, you're gonna want to play, you can get cards like just usual pirate. So it's good. There's a decent amount of options. One sec, I gotta change the music. The music's overlapping, it's hurting me. Alright guys, listen to River of Life. This is really scuffed, I'm sorry, but you guys really expect a review to not be scuffed as all hell. And that's it for the Skelliges. Overall, Bran is looking pretty damn fine. Cirrus, you're trying. You're trying, Cirrus. Maybe, who knows? Maybe Cirrus will be kind of good. Maybe someone will figure out the optimal deck for her. We'll see. And she is a thin. We gotta look at the bright side. She is a thin, because she summoned herself from the deck. So she is thin, but she has 10 provisions, so you're losing some maybe important cards. We'll see. Yeah, overall, Skellige looks good. I like it. And the nerfs are not too over crazy, and I like the nerfs. I don't think they have to go too crazy yet. Maybe there should be a provision nerf on what's it called? Reckless Fury. But other than that, I think it looks pretty good. Isn't that Witcher 1 music? Hell yeah, man, it's Witcher 1 music. Hello, guns don't shoot. Surprised no one ever makes that joke. Alright, Skellige looks pretty good though. Cirrus? Maybe not. Time will tell. Ooh, NR's next. Oh boy! A topic of much controversy this season. zoom in here. Got the first card, King Hansel, 3 power, 1 armor. He needs that 1 extra armor. And 13 provisions. Very expensive card, but he is a soldier. He plays a crew unit from your deck whenever an adjacent unit's cooldown decreases, boosts self by the same amount. Radovid is, yeah, we'll get to Radovid in a minute. The Radovid is, yeah. Let's talk about King Hansel. You know, this looks all right. You know, sure, you play a crew unit from your deck. It's not really that many crazy crew units you want to play, but with Rafard's Vengeance going to 10 provision, spoiler, you can't get it through AA anymore. But if you look at the other crew cards, I guess you can get full test pride. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, there's some okay crew cards, but I think in the end of the day, these are probably the only 3 you're going to want to get from your boy Hanselt. The rest of this you don't really care about. So, you kind of don't really... He's good because he's thinning. He's another way of thinning. Thinning's always good. They released him and Ardell in the same drop. Thought it was okay. Yeah, we'll get to Ardell too. It's just... It's very confusing, some of the cards. NR definitely needs help, right? Yeah. So King Hansel, I think he's overpriced. 13 provisions is like, there's just no way you play this in any deck, really. He's so expensive. So expensive. And in a machine deck, you're gonna want to run like Siege anyways, and Siege is extremely expensive. And it's just, I don't know. I think Hansel, she's really expensive. I don't know. I'm not seeing it right now. But, you know, I guess cooldowns, cooldowns are cool. But who knows? I think overall just Hansel's just a little overpriced. Maybe if he was 11, 12, he'd be a little bit more ideal, but 13, I mean, he's just 1 point less, 1 provision less than Siege itself, so. Plus, with Rafard's Vengeance now going to 10, you have Amphibious Assault, you have cards like John Calvite, and plus you usually want to run like Stelkirk and like Prince and those type of decks. It's just all getting really expensive, so TLDR. Hansel, sorry, buddy. All right, let's get on to, I kind of rushed through Hansel because let's get to the real juicy one. This motherfucker is coming back with a goddamn vengeance. King Radovid, 6 for 10, soldier. Deploy if the base version of your leader ability has more than 1 charge. Give it an additional charge. Order, repeat the deploy ability. With him being 6 HP, and there's many ways of boosting him. Most likely he's going to get his order off as well. Oh boy. Radovid, yeah, this is pretty fucking insane. Originally, when I saw this card, I thought it meant, like, if you have at least 1 charge, you gain a charge. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. But then I realized, no, that's not what that means. It means you just straight up use all your uprising charges. You get another uprising. You use that charge. You play his order. You get another uprising. Why? Get into it. Well, at least uprising is, what is it? 14 provisions? Yeah, at least they didn't buff shit, they boost uprising. Well, at least shield wall is now 15 provisions as well. Latissa no longer affects herself, which is good. Now you won't have like 300 point Illuminize. Good, I guess that's something. And Rafard's Vengeance, as I spoiled, goes now to 10, but Illuminize. No? Okay, no, they're gone. They didn't receive anything, because they're fine. They're perfectly fine, guys. Because, as we know from watching, any sort of Gwent for more than 10 minutes, that Illuminize are fine. But, I mean, with the new leader ability, I guess Illuminize might not be no one might not care about them anymore because they're all going to be all about the Radovid uprising. Yeah, this is insane. This is pretty insane. So that means you can have another charge of Inspired Zeal, which you don't really care to have another charge of Inspired Zeal, so that doesn't matter. I think people are confirmed that this doesn't work on mobilization because it doesn't have like charges, but it does have 2 charges, but it doesn't have charges, but it has 2 charges, but it doesn't have charges. Very strange. Shield wall. You can play an extra shield wall. Oh, pretty good, pretty good. Okay. Pincer maneuver. Oh no, I was thinking of the pincer maneuver, not mobilization. Sorry. No, you can play. Wait, you can play multiple, right? That's someone on Reddit was like, no, you can't. I don't know. Oh yeah, mobilization still being mobilization. Sorry, mobilization. Maybe one day you'll be worth it. Uprising though, you guys remember Uprising being a tier 1 deck for the longest time. It's just swap Radovid's and Calvit's ability. Radovid's ability feels like what Anna Henrietta wish her ability was. But she steals abilities. She's like, hey, can I give more charges to my opponent? My leader abilities? Yeah, I remember when Uprising was a problem, and it was not very fun. And that was back when NR Witchers was like extremely good. And yeah, you probably could fit mages in and Scythemen, and you probably will because Illumini's did not get nerfed. So most likely you will be seeing Illumini and Scythemen together, working together. Oh, great. And with it being 15 provisions. Yeah. Oh boy. And how much provisions is Radovid again? He's 10. Oh my god. So we have Hunsold here, 13 provisions. And then we have Radovid here with 10. I think they should have their provisions swapped. Okay. I get it because they're like, okay, but you thin a card, but activating multiple uprisings is pretty good. As time has told before, uprising is a very good leader ability. It's very good. So good that they nerfed that. They nerfed what was his name? I forget his name. Boosted. Yeah, Visengard. They nerfed Visengard because he was too good. They nerfed Uprising because it was too good. They like blanket nerfed so much shit because Uprising was a problem. But here we go again. They really are going back like how it used to be. Yeah, I think Radovid is for sure like tier 1. Out of every card in this 12 cards, Radovid's easily the best. And those little cheeky ass Lumini's got away with it. I mean, the Letitia change is nice, but you just don't run her. I mean, there's a lot of decks that just don't even run her because it was just greedy to run her most of the time. Like, if you got away with it, cool. But if you didn't, like, they were still good because even without her, that's what I'm trying to get at. It didn't really matter. Refared's Vengeance going to 10. I still don't think that's enough. I think that card should be like 11. It's so good. It's so good. Because that's the thing. You look at Refared's Vengeance, and it's basically pretty much like Refared Vengeance gets to play a card like a bronze. It plays a bronze, and then you draw a card from your deck to replace that bronze. Pencil does draw a card straight from your deck, but it's still just not... It's not even, like, as good as Refared's Vengeance either. So... Yeah, I mean... Oh boy. Are we gonna see NR Witchers coming back? That was the most popular one back in the day. And with the little buff on Vesemir, it's possible. But I think Lumni Mage is here to stay. You got your boy Radovid at 10 provisions to help. And you just play Uprising instead of... I guess. I don't know. People are going to figure it out pretty fast what the most optimal way to play it, though. But I remember how good Uprising was. And this seems like a really big buff to NR. That NR really doesn't really need right now. I mean, I'm glad Monsters is getting vampire support, but then you look at Radovid and you're like, well, fuck. Well, shit. Anyways, I could go on and on and on, but you guys will see soon enough, tomorrow, how good he is. And maybe King Hansel's better than I think, but right now it just doesn't seem like it. Alright, next is Scoia'tael. Some interesting cards. I mean, overall, the cards are interesting. I think Radovid's going to get nerfed real fast, though, if I had to give a guess. Alright, Scoia'tael. I need to drink some coffee. My throat's dying. Alright, Scoia'tael. Milva was the first card to be announced. Good old Milva Sharpshooter, because currently Milva is, well, she's pretty sad. She just boosts by 1 for every Scoia'tael card being played. It's pretty sad. I think. Or is it unit? I think it's... Is it? No, it's unit, right? Yeah, it's a unit. It's so bad. Yeah, Milva Sharpshooter. She's gone off the floor, and now she's sniping some bastards. So, here we go. She's 0 order, damage an enemy unit by 2. Death blow. Shuffle self back to your deck. Whenever you move an enemy unit, summon yourself from your deck to the opposite row. Then damage it by 1. Pretty good. This is a really good leader ability. This is a really good card. Pairing it with the Guerrilla Tactics, which is still at 16 provisions, which is pretty damn good. That means Milva has a reach of 5 to kill something. So ideally, you're always going to want to mulligan Milva away. And then you just constantly, you want to make sure you kill something so she goes back in your deck and then come back out. Now, people are comparing her to Madoc. She's kind of like a reverse Madoc, where Madoc goes into your graveyard and then comes back out. There is disadvantages and advantages to both of them. The disadvantage of Madoc is you can run Graveyard Hate and just kill him, you know? You just banish him. Whereas Milva, you can draw into Milva in round 2, or you can draw into Milva in round 3, if you're really unlucky, aka me. So, that's where the issues lie in Milva. I think she's good, though. Like, even if you use your 3 leader charges with it, whatever, Guerrilla Tactics. I'm used to calling them, like, Broover ability, because that's what, you know, I played when the leader abilities were still a thing. But she's just really good. Yeah, she summons selves from your deck, so that won't activate Harmony, for example. It won't, because it summons. Yeah, I mean, she's good, though. This is a very solid card. My worry is that this is 100% going to get played in no unit decks. So, rip. But, yeah, for sure, this is going to get played in no unit. And looking at the other movement cards, does she really have that much synergy? Because you want to make sure you kill things with it. Right? Like, 100% you want to kill things as you play her. That way you don't waste her ability, because she's only 2 HP. She'll get murdered by anything, and then she's dead. You can combo her with making a bomb, which is good. You can combo her with this guy gets buffed, by the way. Now he moves an enemy unit to the leftmost position and damages it by 1, and then damages it by 1 additional for each card it passes. Let's go. Okay. Sorry, I had to change this. Listen to this beautiful Witcher 1 music. Alright, so yeah, this card's a bit buffed. It doesn't move, though. So, like, if a card is the leftmost position, it won't actually move at all, so Milva won't come out. So you gotta keep that in mind. But it is a nice little buff, just spoilers. But pretty much you want to make sure you're doing some sort of damage. Technically, you could also do not only making a bomb, but there is also Rock Barrage. Oh, now you have a reach of 7, and it is technically better than making a bomb, in the sense that your opponent can't play around Rock Barrage, whereas making a bomb, your opponent can play around it. So technically, Rock Barrage is better than making a bomb in a Milva deck because it doesn't have a downside. The downside being, though, it is 1 extra provision. If this was 4 provision, it wouldn't be a contest. I mean, this card just wouldn't even be played if this just... Well, if Devotion, but yeah. But yeah, Milva seems really good. It's just a really strong card. You guys hear that music? I don't know if it's too loud or not. Give me some Witcher 1 lovin'. Yeah, Milva looks pretty damn good though. Like she looks good. Like it just seems like a very strong card. Even if you use your 3 leader charges, she's still coming out and doing 2 damage, 3 damage. So she's coming out 3 times. She still is her provision cost. So pretty good, and it gives you more ways of removing cards. Now you can remove up to 5 point worth cards. Let's say you don't have Nature's Rebuke. Who cares? You just use a leader ability. Pretty good. I like her. I like her a lot. I think she'll for sure be played. I think in a pure movement deck, I don't think pure movement is still going to be played because pure movement lacks... I guess you have like Witchers and stuff. Yeah, maybe. Maybe you don't. Maybe you do like run a movement deck. Maybe movement's not that bad, but I don't think Milva's like meant for a pure movement deck. You gotta have other ways of moving cards to be really useful with her. Alright, I gotta prepare my lips for this next one because this next fucking card is literally a Yu-Gi-Oh! Description. So, give me a sec here. Gotta lube up my mouth very quick before this one. Alright. Seska Commander. One sec. I gotta check something. Okay. So you see those flags? There's the same flags as Commander's Horn. Is that just me? Or are they the same flags? Is that a Easter egg? Anyways, this art, by the way, is... Oh, shit! You know? High quality. This is going to be my new showcase card. 4 for 13. Seska Commander, Dragon. Immunity. Deploy. If you have at least 10 different primary categories in your starting deck, summon a random bronze Scoia'tael unit with a primary category that is not on your side of the board of the battlefield from your deck to this row. At the end of your turn, lower the counter by 1, and when the counter reaches 0, reset and repeat the deploy ability counter 3. You guys got that? So, you have at least 10 different Harmony Sindri. I love Harmony decks. I'm glad, you know, this maybe make me want to play Dana again. Dana? Dina? Yeah. So you have at least 10 summon random bronze unit with primary that is not on your side of the battlefield from your deck to this row. So that means you're constantly yoink, yoink, yoink. Summon. Yeah, you summon it. Wait. Yeah, okay. You summon. Right. Sorry. I'm just trying to... Anyways, yeah, so you summon the card. So this is just constant thin. You lower the count by 1. So in a long round 3, which ideally you're going to want to do this like a long round 3 or long round 2, something. So you get the maximum value. You're going to constantly play 1, 2, 3. And it lowers its counter by 1 each turn. It has immunity, which is fine. That is fine. It's such a cool card. I love this card. It is so unique. When we have cards like Radovid that's going to absolutely bend us over, it's nice to see cards like Seska. Scoia'tael has so many different categories that you can play. You have dwarfs, you got treants, you got dryads, you got elves, you got did I say beasts? No, beasts. You got what else? You got human, those disgusting humans. You got those. You got witchers. You got a bunch of naked elf. No, sorry, naked dryads. Sorry, there is no naked elves. I'm sorry for being racist. Dryads. Sorry. You got what other categories you got bombs. Sorry, I shouldn't say the word bomb like that very loudly. My Google Home might be thinking something a little bit. I might get on an FBI watch list or something. Or my neighbors might be calling the Canadian FBI. Yeah, there's just so many different. There's just so many different ones you can choose from. There's so many. And does she count for herself? Probably, right? Because she's a dragon. I'm guessing she counts for herself. I mean, 10 different primary categories is not hard. It's going to be a fun deck to make. And you know I'm playing my girl, Dana. Or Donna. No, Dana? No, it's Dana. Let's be real. But do you play Dana? Honestly? I might be making a mid-range deck with, Milva, the new one, and with the new Seska commander, just because you have guerrilla tactics and you can be a bit more mid-range control, or you can go all in on the harmony. That is an option too. You know, it'd be great to play Phil Evangel into like a Waters of Brooklyn. That would be very sick as well. But we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, this card overall is sick. Fucking love this card. This card is sick. All right, enough jerking off about this card. Go to the nerfs and buffs. Sorry. Savoid now transfers into blah blah blah. Yeah, so basically, once it enters the grave, it automatically becomes the special version instead of the end of the same turns. That way, if you play, like, for example, a sorceress while it's already in your graveyard, it will already knock the counter down by 1 or whatever, instead of waiting until the end of your turn. Pretty good. Harmony. What? Abandoned Girl changed into, now changes basically the same thing, but now it gains vitality equal to the number of dryads on your row. Will this make it so it's good enough to be played in a deck? Also, she counts for herself, so technically she plays as a 5 for 4 already. Yeah, she's pretty good, honestly. I think she's better than a Scribe, and I honestly, in my Symbiosis deck, I hate playing Scribe, and I hate playing fucking the little Witcher bastard. So I play, other cards instead. So maybe Abandoned Girl, she seems pretty good. Biggest nerf, and, maybe CPR did this just for me. I've been complaining about Bountiful Harvest longer than I think anyone has ever should. I was saying that Bountiful Harvest was overtuned for its provisions, that it was too good, and my opponents keep high-rolling the best fucking options, which they do. And now they nerfed Bountiful Harvest. Now it will let you choose between all Bronze Elves. So yeah, haha, take that. So now if they high roll the sorceresses against you, it'll be even more tilting now because there's such a big pool. But yeah, Bountiful Harvest, that's a huge nerf to Bountiful Harvest. It's basically like... It's basically Runestone, isn't it? Isn't Runestone literally just... I guess it's like a more specific Runestone, right? Yeah, I don't know, man. It's pretty bad now, but there's a lot of elves you can get. There's a lot of elves. It doesn't mean you can get a seer now from it. I mean, that might not be terrible. There's still some good options, but I think Bountiful Harvest has way too many bad options than they do good options. So, yeah. Like, if you get... Okay, worst case scenario, you get, like, Watcher of the Value, Elven Scout, and a Saboteur with no elf in hand. And you're like really sad. Or you just play, no, Elven War Dancer, Watcher Valley, Elven Scout. Yeah, you'd be pretty sad with that. You'd be pretty tilted with that one. So Bound for Harvest got nerfed. Illumini didn't, but Bound for Harvest did. Shit happens, I guess. I'm glad they nerfed Bound for Harvest. I thought it was insane for what it was. Especially going against your opponent. That just gets a million sorceresses. But now it's a bit more reasonable. I think Illumini should have been nerfed by a little bit, but it is what it is. Cat Witcher, yeah, I already said that now does an additional 1 base damage, which is nice. And Matreon is now a 4 provision instead of 5 provision, which is, you know, it's nice. Nice little boosty for the good old Matreon. Nope. Scoia'tael looking pretty damn good. Looking pretty good. I'm excited, and it should be fun to see. I wonder if Seska Commander is good to play round 1, just to thin out the cards from your deck round 1, or if she's better in like a long round 3. Oh, this song's such a banger, dude. Probably because it's my intro song, so we're gonna play it again. This is why I chose this as my intro. Alright, Nilfgaard time, guys. It's Nilfgaard time. Ardil Ip Dahil. Right? That sounds about right. Deploy ranged if neither player's has passed and your opponent's hand is not full. Moved a non-doomed enemy unit with power up to the number of tactics in your starting deck, X, to your opponent's hand, then draw a card. This card is... So, if this card was by, you know, move an enemy unit with base strength, broken. But where it's move an enemy unit with the power up to the number of tactics. This is, I think, just another, let me show you guys a couple cards, right? So, you guys remember Vilgefortz, right? Yeah. You guys remember Vilgefortz Vengeance? 13 provision. Very expensive. Swap a card from your opponent's graveyard with your card in your hand. That sounds insanely good. Nope, it's trash. You guys remember Rennis? 5 for 13. I'm getting a fucking, you know, I'm getting... Oh, but Ardell is 12, so there is hope. Rennis, you know, look up top, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he's very niche. And to add to the memes, we got your boy Ardell. Ardell, in some cases, could be pretty good. I think Ardell could be good. Now, people are very, very, very focused on the fact that you draw a card and you put a shitty card back in your opponent's hand. But Nilfgaard does not have issues with drawing your best cards. Let me show you guys a couple other cards. Have you guys ever heard of the card Blightmaker? No, not Blight Marker. That's his brother. Blightmaker, his, you know, the other guy. He thins a card with, you know, Vlad himself, the game director. Ethan. Oh, that's why he's the best card in the game. I see. Yeah, so Nilfgaard has Blightmaker, Assassin. So that's 2 thinning right there. You got Deadman's for another 2 thinning. You have Menno, possibly. I run Menno. That's another thinning. Furcart, which is another thin. Plus, you draw 3 cards round 1. You draw 3 cards round 2. You draw 3 cards round 3. So that's 3, 6, 12. So up to 12 cards out of 25 that you already draw. You can then mulligan 3 of those cards. So that's 3, 6, 9. Unless you get really unlucky. So what I'm trying to say is Nilfgaard does not have issues drawing cards. It's like saying if Skellige draws a card, who gives a fuck, dude? It's like, it doesn't matter. It's cool. Like, the only circumstance I could see it... Oh, I'm sorry. I also forgot Yokim, coup de grace, Yokim. Double Yokims. Awesome. So the only cards that you have ever issues with finding is Yennefer and Heatwave. Those are the only two cards in the entire game for Nilfgaard that they have problems finding. Now, if you want to run this in a current Assimilate deck, you just can't. This is a way too expensive card. You would have to get rid of something really good to put this card in. You'd have to get rid of, for example, the current meta deck runs Mushy Truffle. You'd have to get rid of Mushy Truffle. You'd have to get rid of, like, Bribery or something. If you want to still run Heatwave Yennefer. And just to run Ardell, he's very expensive. Very expensive. Now, there might be a time and a place for him. I can see him getting value against, like, a Sunset Wanderer. If their Sunset Wanderer is like an 8 and you have 8 tactics in your deck, you know, now his Sunset Wanderer is a 1, you draw a card. Hey, that's good. That's good value. I think unless you find these really good value Ardells, which if Ardell becomes really popular, people are either just going to stop running Sunset, or B, people are going to only play Sunset till it's very, very high up there in points. But and like there's things as well, like if you put a enemy Sea Jackal that's already have 4, like for example, he plays Sea Jackal, he boosted it by 2 and then 4, so you used 4 coins to boost it, and then you put it back in his hand. He technically lost 4 coins, so that's good value. I think if you find these good value trades, maybe Ardell is a good card, but I think currently he's a good provisions though. I think if they made him too low, he would be OP. But I think at the same time, with the current decks, he's just a little overexpensive, and you really can't cut out. Like, Nilfgaard is getting really down to the wire when it comes to provisions. And that's why you see people now run like Double Cross. Which another thing is, Double Cross did not get nerfed this patch, which is surprising to me that Double Cross did not get nerfed, because I consider Double Cross better than Imprisonment. As someone that played only Imprisonment this season, to 2.5, Imprisonment seems a lot worse than... I mean, it's just... I don't know why Double Cross did not get nerfed to 15 provisions, because you get to see the top 3 cards of your opponent. Like, not top 3, but you get to see their final 3 cards. You get to steal... Like, you get to play a version of theirs. Like, it's so much value. I don't know. You have to run at least, I would say, 8 tactics to make this work, which is not impossible. You could run 2 tornadoes, 2 experimental remedies. You can run 2 imperial diplomacies, a coup de grace, and a final tactics card or something, right? And I mean, like, what tactics would you run though? I'll take a little looky. Assassin, I guess, like an assassination, probably. So you want to run at least like 7's pretty doable. 8, it's getting a little tight. Now, in a full-on tactics deck, this might be okay, because at most you're gonna have 12 tactics, right? So you can get a imprisonment 6, or you can go imprisonment 5, which is 8 tactics. So it's the same as I'm saying right now. At 12, you know, Ardell might not be bad, because you could put cards like Sunset Wanderer back in their hand, and then that's good. But the problem with a full, and the reason why I'm talking so much about it, because I play a lot of Nilfgaard. I know a lot about this faction. The problem with playing a full-on tactics deck is your units are going to be as the following: 2 Blade Makers, 2 Assassins, that's already 4. You got your Fur card, so that's 5. You got most likely Terra Nova, because it's such a strong card. You're probably going to run Hefty Hulge, those 2 Scorpions, which we'll talk about in a minute. So already you're super limited on amount of units. You also want to run Menno as well, so that's up to 10. You also want to run Yo Kim. You want to maybe run Brathens, etc., etc., etc. There's so much I could talk about. I could literally go on probably an hour about Ardell alone because it is a cool subject. I think I'm saying Ardell is bad, but I think he's okay. I think he's just okay. I think he could be really strong he could be really strong, but right now I'm not seeing it. You know, like let's say you put your opponent, like if you're playing an all-in tactics deck to make him work. For example, you do put, you know, a good card back in his hand, which would have to be like Sunset Wanderer, some sort of reset, because other than that, you're not really getting much value. And then you just draw one of your tactics. You're just drawing like a Torny's Joust or something. That's just not a good value either. Like, you don't care to draw a Torny's Joust. You don't care to draw. So what I'm saying is, TLDR, it's a really hard card to judge. I think this card could go either way, but I think right now it's just, I think it's too expensive. I don't think it should get buffed to where it's like, if it was just base strength, it would be broken. This card would be broken. Because then you could put cards like Uzrul, you could put any card you want. You could run at max like 7 tactics to be safe, and then there's nothing your opponent can do. Would be a very, 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 very strong card. Just because you would destroy people's boosts. But I mean, this is a very balanced card. I would say, like, this is balanced, and that's where it's like kind of hard to judge if he's good, because I think in his current version he's balanced. They didn't go overboard. They didn't overtune him like right out of it. He's fine. He's perfect. So that was a long spiel about Ardell. Let's get into the other card, John Calvite. I won't be talking about this card for very long because I think this card is trash. Why do I think it's trash? Well, let's look at the ability. 8 for 10. Sort cards. So, by the way, you're playing an 8 for 10 on the board with no other effect other than sort your cards in your deck from highest to lowest provision cards. At the start of your game, move self by 1 position in your deck for each tactic you have in your hand. So this is another tactic support card. That means, once again, well, I'm saying all your card, you know, you only have so many units because you're going to run, like, at max 12 tactics in Slave 6. So you need 13 units, and we already went over how the pool of units is very tight. Calvite would take up another slot, and he's just kind of meh. Once again, like I said before, you do not have a hard time finding your good cards for Nilfgaard. And you play right into Mill. Now, if someone's playing Mill, you're going to be really sad if you play John Calvite and they just mill all your best cards, because that's what they will do. I don't know, because at the same time, you might be like, well, you get your highest provision cards. You don't get your lowest. Who cares? You get your best cards. But there's times you want your lowest provision cards. Trust me. You have Torny's Joust. Now you don't have access to any Torny's Joust. You have Assassinates. Now you have no access to Assassinates. You have Impure Diplomacies to play proactively. Now you have none of those. You have your Fire Scorpions. You can't play those now because they're all at the bottom of your deck. And I think this card is just bad. I don't see how this card is good in any realistic way. Maybe if there's a combo, but it doesn't seem that good. There's a reason why you put, you know, 4 provision cards in your deck, because you want to pick the best 4 provision cards. The best 4 provision cards can now play from upwards of 4 to like 8 points. You know, even a Duchess can be good in some matchups. Like against mages, Duchess is really good. Torny's Joust, like I said, you have no access to your Torny's Joust. You have no access to Fur Cart, Blightmaker, Assassins. And I just don't see it. I think, personally, this is the worst card out of all 12. I think. Unless I'm missing something. But I think this might be the worst card in all of this set. And it's just because it's a cool ability. I'll give it that. All these cards are really cool abilities. They're all really cool. They're all unique. So that's awesome. I'm passionate about Gwent. I love Gwent. I'm not yelling because I'm mad. I'm yelling because I love this game. These are cool abilities, man. But like, I just don't see this card being that good. I'm glad John Calvite's back. I missed him. He was my boy back in beta. Alchemy, Nilfgaard. That was my shit back in the day. But yeah, I'm sorry, Jean Calvite. You're not looking too hot in this expansion, my buddy. I do not expect this card to be played at all. Maybe I think for the first week we're going to see these cards. But after that, people are going to realize that John Calvite's just not worth it. He's just not good. I expect at some point maybe this card gets a rework. I think it's that bad. Unless there is a reason ever in the future for you wanting to find your highest cards. Like I said, the only value this is that you can find your Heat Wave and Yen first. That's literally it. Like, even playing this turn round 1, you don't want to play this round 1. You don't want to play this ever, honestly. And if you draw this card in round 3, it's round 3! You can't draw any more cards! So this card's just even more useless. So yeah, no. Maybe if it was 8 for 8, even then, probably not. If this was 8 for 6, even then, probably not. I don't know, man. It's just not good. There's a reason why Maxi is a lot better, because you can see your order of your cards, and then you can dictate what you want. That's what's great about Maxi, and we can reshuffle if it's not to your liking. John Calvite's literally just, hey, your best cards are at the top now. All your most important cards are all at the bottom now. Well, not most important, but, you know, proactively. So, yeah. There's a lot of downsides and barely any upsides to this card. And it's 8 for 10. That's piss poor. At the end of the day, it just plays for 8 for 10. And it's Aristocrat, though, so ball. Yeah, man, no. Sorry, John Calvite, buddy. Nope. All right, so we got Terra Nova going from 12 to 13. Good nerf. Needs it. Brathan's going from 10 to 11. Good nerf. Needs it. Understandable. These two cards have been put in every single Nilfgaard deck for the last 6 months or so. Fire Scorpion. Now, this I actually think is a nerf. Let me tell you why. Provision goes from 5 to 4. That seems good on paper, but it loses its armor. So, it going down a provision might sound like, oh, that's actually pretty good. But it's not. It's actually a nerf. Most cards in the game does 4 damage, right? Actually, a lot of cards now do 4 damage. Which is funny. It used to be 2, then it was 3, and now it's 4. This card used to be 5. Really annoying because I had armor. It was basically a 5, essentially, right? But they got rid of that. They stripped that 1 armor off. Now Torrent Joust can kill it. Now Gutting Slash can kill it. Now Bombs can kill it. Literally now anything can kill this card. This card was already struggling as, you know, two of the cards out of the Tactics deck. 2 of the most important cards because you want to like play it and kill shit with it. And it was just good value. And I think this is actually a nerf. Like, sure, it might seem like, okay, you do get a provisions, which is nice, but it is still kind of a nerf in a sense. It's not a buff and it's not really a nerf, but I think it's more of a nerf because at the end of the day, it lived a lot easier than it does now, than what it will. So, yeah, rip Fire Scorpion. I think that's a nerf on Fire Scorpion. I actually legitimately do. Vanilla Lead, though, goes from 4 to 5, which is not really a big deal. Just means now it boosts self by a little bit more. You know, that 1 extra point. It's a bit more point slammy. It's not bad, though. But yeah, I think overall, not looking too good. All right, so that's it for Nilfgaard. Overall, we went. I think our Nilfgaard was the longest talk, but John Calvite was pretty slow. But Ardell, he's a really cool card. I like him. Yeah, cool. Then we get Syndicate, guys. We're finally almost done. Syndicate. Now, I know some people, before I continue, some people were complaining that these patch notes weren't a lot. But as you guys can see by the video length, whatever this video length ends up being, this is a very long video. These might not look like a lot of changes, but adding 12 new leader abilities with these leader abilities, they're not leader abilities, they're new cards. They're called leader cards because that's what we remember them by back in the day. Back in my day, you know. But yeah, these are all big changes. Like, I don't know what people are like, man, the patch notes are not big this season. It's like, now I wanted Lumni to get nerfed, but they didn't. I think that's the only thing I was kind of hoping for. Everything else is just gravy, man. I'm pretty okay with the nerfs. Anyways, let's go on to the first one. King of Beggars coming in hot. I actually really like this guy. King of Beggars, he has a blind eyes. He's 4 for 10. Fee 1, boosts out by 1. So he's a little NG boy. Plays for a perfect amount of token fee. While in deck, whenever you pay a tribute, remove a counter for each coin paid. For each removed counter, gain 1 coin back. When counter reaches 0, summon self from deck to a random allied row. This is pretty fucking good. Yeah, that's pretty damn good. So let's just dissect this card one at a time here. This card has 3 main parts, 3 keys of why I think this card is actually pretty fucking clean. 1, it's a spender. Round 3, you play this card, you get the last tribute, your opponent can't do anything, and boom, now you got King of Beggars. He plays for the perfect amount of paying coin tributes, of paying the fee. And having more fee abilities is always kind of nice because sometimes you lack that fees. Pretty good. Not only that, but you get coins back every time you pay a tribute. So this is also really good because it acts like a line pocket, but on a unit. So now when you play a off the books, which reduces your tribute by 1. Yes. Off the book. Which is also 16 provision. So off the book is pretty damn good. Yeah, your tributes cost 1 less coin. You gain 2 coins. Charges 3, so you can gain up to 6 coins. I just realized something about Radovid. He increases the charges, right? Sorry, I know this is... But when you coup de grace him and you're playing Imprisonment, that means you can get another 2 charges on your Imprisonment. So actually, Radovid is a buff for Nilfgaard Imprisonment. Yes! My Imprisonment gets buffed! Let's go, dude! Yeah. Hell yeah. Remember Lockdown, guys? This is also a buff for Imperial Formation as well. Yeah, this is fuck yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's go back to the Syndicate. Sorry, I just thought of that with coup de grace and stuff like that. You could play Terra Nova for another just a lot of charges. But anyways, and so he acts like a mini. Music's getting intense. He acts like a mini. What the fuck's the leader? I'm drawing blanks with these leader abilities today, man. Line pockets, that's what I was saying, yeah. So he acts like a mini line pockets. He's a spender. And he thins himself from the deck, which in a round, ideally, I mean, it doesn't really matter what round he comes out in, I don't think. Because he kind of acts like a Hubert in that sense too, where, you know, you might be down a couple points, and here we go, another 4 points on the board. That's nice. That's always good. Hubert's like 5, I think. But it's always good to have him just to add that extra amount of points. And then if you have like Boat on top of that, but I don't know if you would run Boat with King of Beggars. Just because Boat in a tribute deck is kind of anti-synergy because you want to spend your coins. But let's take a look at the tribute cards to see just how good maybe would this card be. Oh yeah, this card got buffed, by the way. Let's talk about that real quick. Sideways, you know. Yeah, he went from 3 to 4. So this is now going to be a 4 point. So he's a 4 for 4. With off the books, he doesn't actually use any money. But does the Does it still do the animation of you paying the money? I think so, right? So in that case, you'd actually gain a coin, I'm pretty sure, with King of Beggars as well. So I think you actually would play this card and essentially gain profit 1 with it. So he's a pretty good card. I'm trying to look at these other ones to see if they would be even worth. I'm trying to think. I know Salamandra Mage is he's pretty damn good in a tribute deck. You're definitely gonna want to run Salamandra Mage. Yeah, it's I don't know exactly how it's gonna look, but there is some decent tributes, and we'll see. But I think he's pretty damn good. And even you have to 9 tributes. Take a look at these tributes here. How did we get to 9? We got Professor, so that's 1. You can always play Jacques, because Jacques is just a really strong card, so that's possibly 2. You do got the Scoundrel, so that could be 3. Morels, that'd be 4, hypothetically. Let's hypothetically say. Renegade Mages, maybe 2 of them, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7 if you play the Mages. And what else card would you even want to run? I don't know. These all look kind of scuffed, I won't lie. Maybe the Mink and something else? I don't know. Honestly, it doesn't look that easy, actually, to get Tribute 9. There's not really that many good Tribute cards, and I hope that in the future, it seems like they're going to be adding more Tribute cards, and I hope they do add more Tribute cards. I guess technically you could run Arena Ghoul just for the 7 points, I guess. And that way, like, if a Nilfgaard you're playing against Nilfgaard and they try to copy this, it'll just die if they don't have a coins. I mean, okay. I don't know, man. He does seem good. Someone will figure it out, but maybe I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out, guys. A professional gamer I am. Yeah, Kingback's pretty good. And he is Blind Eyes, so maybe you do combo it with, like, the Scenario. Right? Yeah, with Passive Flora. Yeah, maybe a Sly Seductress deck is what you do with it, and then you play the tributes of the Mink and stuff like that. That would help as well. And like Renegade Mage and all that, because he's also a Blind Eyes. So yeah, I think you can maybe do some weird Passive Flora shenanigans with that. My throat is dead, by the way. Going into the last card, Cyrus. Ingolkind Helmfart. Yeah, it's good old Helmfart. Classic. 3, 1 armor, 12 provisions. Fire Sworn. Profit 4. Deploy, spawn and play a Congregation, which Congregation, by the way, is a spawn 2 Fire Sworn Zealots and Allied row. If a Fire Sworn unit is in that row, spawn 3. And I'm guessing he'll count for himself because you play him and then you play the thing. So he'll count for himself. That means he plays 3 dudes. But then you have a feed, destroy an allied Firesworn token, and then spawn a Bronze Firesworn unit from your graveyard to the same position. So with him being 3 HP, he is very susceptible to get murdered. Absolutely gank spanked. Yeah, you spawn a Firesworn unit from your graveyard. So there is some really good Firesworn cards that you want to res. When I mean some, there's like a couple, but there still is a decent amount. Fallen Knight, for example. Fallen Knight's a card that you want to spawn with good old Ulrich. And then now you can do that with Fallen Knight. And then you can res him down the road as well. So you can play up to like 4, maybe 5 Fallen Knights. And Fallen Knights are always good. I'm trying to look at the other cards. Maybe Eternal Fire Priest. I don't think so though. Maybe. But most likely it's just gonna be Fallen Knight. All these other cards look kind of eh. Is it Spawn or Summon? Summon. Oh shit. That's Summon. Not Spawn. So Summon. Which means you can replay it. So that way, like, if you have a Mutant Maker in your graveyard, You can replay the Mutant Maker. Or you can replay the Inquisitor. Or something, I don't know. You can replay the Temple Guard. Remember when people used to run Temple Guard, guys? Yeah, it seems pretty fun, and it's a nice boost to Firesworn. Firesworn has always kind of fallen to the wayside. Not really have seen that much action, unfortunately, but I think maybe Cyrus will help a little bit. This is a nice card. 3 for 1. I'd like to see this card maybe be a 4 in 1 armor instead of 3. Because I think that is a little too squishy. But it seems pretty good though. This is actually not bad. I can see this card being really annoying. Like if you don't have an easy way of dealing with this card, he could get really crazy. But on top of that, they did buff a couple cards. Sacred Flame is now 8 provisions instead of 9, which is another little boost to the Firesworn memes. The problem with Firesworn is if it ever becomes popular, people just run Lambert. So yeah. Yeah, that sucks. Sir Scoia'tael is now a 2 tribute instead of 3, which now with off the books is 1 tribute. So Scoia'tael will pretty much be instantly immune, which is pretty good. Halfling Safecracker going from 4 to 5, doesn't matter, it's still a bad card. Renegade Mage going from 3 to 4. Like I said, that's a nice little buff on top of all the other buffs and shit. Syndicate just got buffs. They didn't get any nerfs. Feels good, man, because Syndicate has been, if not the worst faction this season, I would say. Some people have been doing some meme decks, but I don't know. I miss Syndicate being, good. And there's a couple new archetypes to try out. Some Tribute and Firesworn. A couple, and that's what I like about this, is that they're all visiting archetypes that have not seen that much love in a long time. For example, Monsters is getting Death Wish and Vampire support. Skellige is getting Pirates and Warrior support and Self-Wound support. Northern Realms is just becoming OP, as always. Scoia'tael is doing some movement and kind of movement. Not really. It's not going to be played in a movement deck. It's going to be played in, mid-range. And Harmony support, which is nice. We're seeing Tactics be played, though this card sucks. We're seeing, Firesworn and Tribute being played again, which is nice. Playing in Duchess, Informant, and Emissary can now be canceled, which is kind of nice, because that shit was kind of annoying. And now it shows the correct provision cost, and yeah. That's it. That's it, boys. We're done. My throat hurts. I can barely talk at this point. This might not be a long stream. But overall, I'm excited. Overall, it all looks good. I'm excited to see what I can come up with tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be coming up with some good memes. I don't know what I'm going to try first. I kind of want to try, vampires maybe first tomorrow, but we'll see. I don't know. We're going to try every faction. We're trying every faction. And yeah, so I hope, I guess this will be end of the video for anyone that's watching this on YouTube. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll be uploading some gameplay soon of the new decks once they come up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace!